Hello, hello. This is Mark Reinhagen, and I'm here with my co-hosts Alicia Lee and Joe Weinberg. And today we have something interesting for you. We're going to be basically just designing our third game, which is called BeastKnight. It's our werewolf game, and we just decided, well, I did, to basically do 3 games in a row. So we're going to release 3 games in 6 months, which of course is impossible. You can't release a proper role-playing game without years of actual play testing and trying and throwing away stuff, much less create a world and a setting for it, which if you know my games, the World of Darkness, Vampire, you know that a setting is incorporated in every game, right? That's a key part of it. But the thing is, we've already done that, right? So we've already been doing that for Lostlorn, the world. And we've done that for Badlander, our sort of vile hunters game, our humans who hunt monsters. And then we've already done that for our Fang Night game, the Vampire. We just basically finished that. So now we have basically 6 months to design a third game, and it's going to be really hard, but I think it's possible. And we're going to basically dig into it today. So say hi, guys.
Hey, yeah. So,
Hi, guys.
yeah. So we'll see if we're up to the challenge here. I think we can do it. I mean, what helps is that we've had many years of laying the groundwork of the world itself. And I think that's what's really important is knowing the world, knowing how things work. Once having the mechanics laid out is very important. And then that way that's a huge hurdle that you cross, and then things are a little bit smoother. But so I think we can do it. I think we'd do it in 6 months.
Yeah, I also think it's good because we have so much crossover between these games. We've done a lot of considering of how the vampires react to the Beast Knights and how they all react to the human hunters and who's on which side, and we have kind of this long-term history built out. So I think it'll work. I'm up for the challenge.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. So I think we're going to start with us basically digging into basically what we have for all of our games, we basically do a birthright and a guild. So we have sort of your who you were born into, what tribe you're born into, and then sort of what job you do or what you do. We have and then that is combined with a third thing, which is like usually your estate or your background, your origin. So those 3 choices basically let you are a member of 3 different factions. So from the very beginning, you belong to one of 3 different factions. And then later on, when we have our LARP game, which we've already designed called Tarot LARP, you basically get 1 card for each of your 3 main factions. And then that's your basic character creation, is those original cards. And then basically you get to decide, your loyalties are split between those 3 cards. Are you most loyal to your birthright? Are you most loyal to your guild? Or are you most loyal to your origin, your estate, your social class? So in that way, it's up. No one knows what's going on in the mind of someone. So just so the people who meet you don't really know who are you truly loyal to and who are you not. But those loyalties are going to conflict. So in this game, we have your moon, which I think we're saying is going to be, that could change today. Your moon is like what your people are, your tribe. Your taxon is kind of like what you do. And then for the third one, we may be doing a state or we may be doing something else. Who knows? So let's get into it. I'm gonna put open the share screen on that.
Okay.
Here's Beast Knight. And you can see, there we go. Oh, you can see Jim's comment. He's going to be joining us here.
Awesome.
Oh, I see. Okay. So let's move on to where we talk about the moons. So these are actually, the one good thing about the moons is that we actually have already named the moons. And there are 7 moons in Lostlorn. and they have these names that we came up with years ago. By we, I guess, I mean me. Although we did just change the name, didn't we? So that's actually one of the things I always had to mention to people about world design is kill your darlings, folks. Like just because you love a name and you fell in love with it, you know, or you it's written in stone. Nothing is written in stone until you publish, and even then, it's still not written in stone. You know, we always change things. Another rule I have is that always have a different first letter and last letter in any name structure within a group. So you notice these all start with a different first letter, and they all end with a different letter. And the reason you do that is that then that way they're very unique. And
Volga and Russia both end in A.
Shut your mouth.
Sorry.
That's the one we changed. That's why I didn't want to change it. I told you never change anything ever. Dang it.
That's exactly what happens when you start to change things too.
Rashi. Volgi. Rashi. Rashi's good. Yeah. Okay, fixed.
Murder your darlings, but bury them in shallow graves.
Absolutely. Here's Jim. Jim is joining us, but without video. Hi, Jim. How you doing?
Hey, Jim. So good.
I met Jim at Ice and Dice convention not long ago, and he is super excited about werewolves. And we basically spent the convention.
Let's see, can you hear me?
Yeah. Welcome, James.
And we spent the convention talking about werewolves. So he's sort of, I'm going to mute him.
Yeah.
So we don't listen to that.
Mark has the power.
I have the power. That's why I love StreamYard. Yeah, it's great. Anyway, we got the
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I muted you for a while because there was some background noise.
Yep,
So
sounds good.
So we just renamed. So now the basically, that is our moons, and we're talking about making them more of your who you are. So basically, it's your lineage, totem, animal, and moon affiliation. So I don't know. Maybe the moon should be more like you were. Maybe the Taxon should be your tribe, the people you grew up in. You know, I don't know. Here's how it looks in. Let me show the screen.
Oh, are you bringing up the character creation?
Yeah, the character creation.
Yeah.
Because that's what we. Well, only let me do one at a time. Oh well.
Okay.
Oh, I can just grab the.
Can you do split screen? Microsoft split screen, maybe? I don't know.
Here, I'll just do it like this. Here is the.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. This is the step 1 and step 2. So pick a moon. Notice I changed Rashi to Rashi. Jim, I'm going to change Rashi from Rasha because we had 2 that ended with A. So
I think we lost Jim.
Yeah, I think he dropped off. So we'll see if he comes back. I think he's having some technical difficulties. So
okay.
We'll see what happens.
All right. So this is tricky. I have this gut feeling that Taxon should be your tribe. But right now, Taxon is kind of like meant to be like you have to grow up to be a werewolf, and then you join this great house, and that great house is your kind of your, because you can see Armazi, Brasov, Sotovan. Those are all names of different kingdoms in Lostlorn. But in a way, I don't want to do that because that ties it too much to the geography. And we're trying to make these games so that if you want to use Lostlorn, you can. But if you don't want to use our maps or our kingdom or whatever, and you just want to adapt it to whatever world you've got going, you can. And you don't have to use our world. And this will require you to use our world. So I'm going to say right now, these Taxons are here.
Not necessarily. I mean, you'd have to replace them.
We have to replace them with other names, yeah. But just by having great houses there just seems, like when werewolves have great houses. I mean, we want to make them nobles, right?
Right.
We want to have them have a masquerade, and it makes sense that they would rise up and be nobles.
Mm-hmm.
One idea we had is that they should be like the Saxon knights. So when the Normans came in and conquered England, a lot of the Saxon knights swore allegiance to William the Conqueror and were allowed to stay on. There were lesser nobles, but they stayed on as nobles. And that's sort of the main plot. I don't know if anyone has read Ivanhoe, but that's the main plot of Ivanhoe. It's basically about a Saxon noble family who are sort of second-class nobles, right? Mm. Oh, how sad. They're abusing serfs, but they're second-class citizens. How unfair.
I guess the question I would have on this is, well, because you have the moon, so they're werewolves. So most people assume you're born under a moon, or and
that's the question. Are you born to the moon, or do you pick a moon?
Or do you is it like
or does your tribe that you were born into worship a moon? And we wanted to say that they don't worship the moon technically. Maybe they used to, but now they fear it because these werewolves are the good werewolves. The bad werewolves live out in the steppes far away, and they still worship the vile moons. But these moons are the vile moons, right? They're dangerous and wild, and they're basically the seven. They're the court of Skarl, the great demon who lives in the this whole world was designed as a prison for Skarl. Right. And they're his court, and each moon is a prison for one of them. So they're the great, malevolent, evil things.
Yeah.
So we don't want that. We don't want player characters worshiping them, do we?
No. I don't think that's the way we want to go with werewolves. I think.
No. I mean, they don't have to be super heroic good guys either, fighting against evil all the time. But we want them to have, but we don't want to be like.
But the moon is, if the moons are vile, that does imply it is a curse, the curse of the werewolf, the old legends. So
we have to figure out. So then basically that if it's your family, then your family is tied to this moon because you're trying to break free. It's really tricky. I think Taxon should be your family. There should be 7 great clans of werewolves called Taxons.
Well, here's the thing, too, is we've determined that there will be a chance of infecting someone through a bite. And because of that, it's not always going to be like born into the werewolf society. So if people can be infected by chance, then maybe the houses aren't, it's not something you're born into. You can become one, but then you can join and you can kind of become part of a house. It could be also because we've determined that the werewolves they're sort of strategizing in society at this point. So what if they're trying to purposely place people into these houses and families and strategically by their skills, by what they do, by where I don't know. It could be a way to look at it where they're supposed to be non-existent right now. They're supposed to be something of past legend, and there are no more werewolves.
Or they're all out there.
In the lowlands, they're extinct, everyone thinks.
Yeah.
The other thing that we need to consider, unlike in other systems where where your birth is all that significant, because of the moats, you might very well be, it doesn't necessarily have to follow to where you were born, because your moat might have a past attachment to one of those 7 moons from a past life. So saying this is the moon you're born under, I don't think we necessarily need to do that.
Or it could be the same with the family too. Your moat, like to wherever you came from, because we're saying in order to become a werewolf, it's already in. If you've been infected by the bite and you turn into one, it's because you've been one before in a past life.
Right.
So it's still in your lineage. So that again could work also with taxons. So I'm not sure.
So let's lean into it. Let's say that there are 7 basically great clans. There's many more. These are the 7. Actually no, there'd be 7. There's 7 moons. There's 7 clans with many different splinters of each one, right? So there's 7 main lineages with splinters. They're one of the splinters. These are the splinters who basically rejected. They basically said one day, "No, you're evil. We're not going to serve you anymore. Thanks for the gift. No thanks. We're out of here." So
I like the idea of the good guys are the rebels.
Yeah. So these are basically the rebels, right? So they're like, yeah, we're not so it's your tribe, your lineage. I guess we take out and we'll take out totem animal, right? An ancient moon affiliation.
Okay. Do we want to take out the second animal then?
Oh, yeah. That's pretty cool though, right?
I think so. And at least this is an idea Mark and I were talking about before you came on.
Mm-hmm.
We have the everything goes level 1 to 7 as a knight, and then level 1 to 7 as a lord. We were thinking that when you hit lord status, you get a second shape you can shift into based on your moon.
Oh, okay. You get a second.
If you're a beast knight or a beast lord under Callow, you would also turn into an owl as well as a wolf.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Now we're allowed to say totem, right? Because that was a term misapplied to Pacific Northwest native tribes, and it never actually was actually their word, right? So
I think so.
You're allowed to use it because it's not actually their word anyway.
Yeah,
I know spirit animals a no-no.
Oh, spirit animals a no-no. I was going to suggest that as the alternative. Oh, you can't say spirit animal.
Spirit guide at least is
spirit guide. Okay.
Let's see what the internet has to say.
Yeah, I'm just.
There's no point in offending people, whether they're whatever their faith, right? It's all the same to me, whether Muslim, Christian, shamanistic, Wicca. We're not going to offend you if we possibly can help it. Of course, we're going to offend someone, right? Just hopefully not a group of people.
The first thing I see
the offense isn't intentional, and if we are offending somebody, they can tell us, and we can become educated and not use it.
Yeah, it's usually the way it's used, if it's used, from what I'm seeing. But yeah, it's But we'd be happy to hear from somebody who has the knowledge.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. I'm for me, it's like very clearly. It's not actually their word. It was invented by anthropologists. So it's based on a word they have, but it's not the word at all, from what I understand. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and make them. So basically, when they become Varg lords, I guess it would be Varg knights and Varg lords.
Varger? Yep. Yeah. Is it?
Varger, yeah. This is their second animal, so we can start with that. Here's the problem: is that it's kind of like high magic. They can switch into a crow. That means there's change in their body size. And that to me suddenly goes into like, that's high magic.
Yeah, as soon as we can change mass, we're going to do that. But unless we want to come up, I mean, we could just come up with 7 animals that are all similar mass to humans.
That's what I think is best. Like a snake can be similar mass. Even a rat could be.
Oh yeah, like
a big rat, right? But not really. Not really.
Rats. I don't think.
Another thing we could do is that they don't actually change into these animals, but they can summon them and talk to them, and they're connected to them.
Yeah, having a connection.
And they can change their features to be more rat-like or more. They can actually change a little bit to be like a rat man, right? But they're not literally changing into a rat, right? Because that's ridiculous.
We could have kind of at the Lord level, you hit the beast man trope. Like at the lower levels, you become a wolf. So you're wolf-sized, wolf-shaped, and then you get to the level where you can start being the standing up on 2 legs.
Mid-form.
Yeah, the mid-form, and have that be the one that mixes.
Yeah, I kind of feel like.
Do we have an idea for the name for that mid-form? Because obviously, that could be the beast. That's the beast form. Just keep it simple. Right?
Jim was suggesting this moon shape or moon form also.
Honestly, I think mid-form is just a really cool way to say it. Like that's what it would come from the language.
And mood form is definitely the right word for taking on these other animals. So what we're gonna say is that these other animals are definitely not. You don't change into that animal in full. You change that into the animal partially. So
yes. Alternately, we could do animals that are roughly human size as far as mass goes.
I'm struggling a little bit with this double form thing. I feel like it's a lot at first. I almost feel like the alternate animals, maybe those animals should be the symbols of these houses. I think
that's what they're the symbols of the moons, because they're tribes, right? They're like houses, noble,
Because the moons themselves are known as being like vile, as being sort of cursed. So I kind of almost feel like there's the curse level of a werewolf, and then there is the sort of a little more spiritual where they're finding their control. Maybe these are the creatures that they're kind of connecting with to ground themselves in nature, in the nature part of being of the wolf. So they're also kind of following these creatures to find that in themselves, to like not be completely vile like the wild werewolves are, who maybe don't follow other animals. Maybe the wild ones are more they follow more of the moon itself, the vials of the moons, and are influenced by that. So I'm thinking maybe like instead of these animals being connected with moons, what if they're connected with the Taxons as like a house symbol? And it's kind of like part of these clans or houses, noble houses, are under certain animals, like part of their heraldry or part of their, and no one's, and people in mortal society are none the wiser. But it's kind of a way
not a bad idea. Yeah,
that werewolves identify each other through these animal houses, kind of.
So it's heraldic.
Yeah,
James is mentioning in the chat that if we lock the 9-foot-tall furry death beast behind Lord levels, PCs won't get to unleash the battle form until they're halfway through the game. They need to have at least the hybrid body transformation and the wolf form available from level 1.
Yeah, we can say that.
Which I can agree with.
Maybe not level 1, because we don't want to. We do have this sort of philosophy that at rank 1, you basically create a character very quickly. You can start playing with almost no knowledge of the setting, and you basically grow into your character over the first like 5 levels, first
Right.
5 ranks. So if we make it so that you can change into wolf form at rank 1, but only at rank 3, let's say, you can change into the beast form. That seems fine to me. And then maybe your moon form, or now maybe Taxon form, you can do that at rank 1 at your Lord level. By the way, everyone listening doesn't know, our ranking system works like this. You have 1 through 7, basically adept ranks, beginner ranks, and then you have another 7 Lord ranks. And Fang Knight is called your Knight ranks, and your Lord ranks, and Badlander is called your adept ranks and your master ranks. And we don't know what we're going to call it yet in this game, but there'll be 2 separate sets of ranks, and they exist in the world. They're real in the world. It's not just a game thing. Like, this is actually like, real ranks.
Yeah.
And kind of every group kind of has the same sort of system because they all copied each other. It's an ancient thing because in Lorne, 7 is a very spiritual, important number. Everything comes in 7s, people believe. So it's just naturally how they think. The same way we on Earth think in terms of 10s, and the ancient cultures thought in terms of 12. Which you can still see in the degrees in a circle, months in a year, moons, cycle. All right, 12 used to be the key number. We changed it to 10, and then Lorne it's 7. So I like Alicia's idea. Let's go ahead and make these Make these so instead of Armazi, it could just be, for now, we'll just call it Crow. Right?
Okay.
Which one is Crow a good totem animal though for knights? Maybe not. Panther is though. We could have some of these be monsters too.
I mean, it would all be it's heraldic creatures, right?
Yeah.
Because all things would be on a herald.
Yeah, on a shield or your house emblem or
right.
Yeah, your Taxon is kind of like you join a Taxon. It's it's for your it's your secret order basically of werewolves.
Right. So there should definitely be lions. Bears.
Instead of panther, it could be lion.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, because lions are more common. Yeah, I mean unicorns were on shields too. So
we're deer.
Right, yeah, deer.
Well, stags, not deer.
Yeah. Or antelope. Dragons.
Yeah, it could be monsters.
Dragons, yeah.
Let's go more with monstering because a stag is not going to do it for most people, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think a stag might, but let's definitely do dragon and unicorn.
Well, the idea too is that these houses are going to probably, when we do their powers, are probably going to have some kind of power attribute that they're getting from this. Right. I would imagine. So that's sort of where it's going to lead to. So when I'm thinking ahead of that, where we're going before we choose the animals, let's think about the traits we want, the different types of powers or different types of traits we're going to think of them having, like what will be useful. So maybe they'll be like one of these clans are more, the sort of more spyish and less like in your face. So they're going to need an animal that's sneakier or more stealthy. Maybe there's, so the different types of knights, that way there'll be a variety in choosing one. You're choosing aspect of this creature. And that's sort of like granted in a way, it's sort of like that's what's granted to you by joining this clan or house. So maybe it's so think in terms of that, like aspect, like aspect of the snake or aspect of the lion aspect. I mean, the lion's a great one. I think that for a knight, that's almost a given. But yeah, could.
More stuff from James. James says that we need to make sure that the Ordo Lycana should be discussed at some point. And wants to know if nobles are including Monstrin in their heraldry, is that going to be something that irritates the Sacroprisma Church in a way that animals wouldn't?
Right, right.
Because
Because that might be kind of blatant if you use a monstrin as your house.
I mean, in medieval Europe, though, and in medieval Japan, they did use, and China, they did use monsters in their
that's
house,
true.
right?
That's true.
Right.
Yeah. There were dragons and such. Yeah. So
we should also have one of these be a plant, like a flower of some sort. Either a rose or like a cherry tree or an oak.
Or a tree, yeah.
like the oak tree is always a good one. I mean,
yeah, because we do have grandmother oak. Maybe.
Yeah, that goes right to the world tree. So
that would be the religious troth one,
right?
Yeah,
and they would be the most spiritual. And by the way, we're not going to keep calling them this. We're going to find words that relate to oak and use that. Like, for instance, we'll go to the my favorite, the etymology, and see where oak comes from really quick. For the Old English oak tree, Old Norse Ike, Proto-English, Proto-Germanic Ikes.
Yeah, let's get to that. Let's first figure out what these are, and let's figure out what the other roles that we want these Taxons to do, like Alicia was suggesting.
Yeah.
So, types of knights. We've got the frontline fighters, right? We've got the spies and sneaky types. We probably want something more of the social political, noble merchant, the talker type.
Yeah.
We're going to want somebody who is more of the ranged fighting type. We need a scout.
The uncanny, also like the uncanny wielders, the more arcane ones.
Yeah.
That's where you, if we want to use unicorn or something equivalent in a Lostlorn equivalent of a unicorn, unless we have unicorns.
We have unicorns.
Okay.
But
we can also use Nama, or we can just, one of them could be the sun.
That's Elam.
Okay.
Nama
we can do Elam.
Yeah, because we don't, because I'm also thinking in terms.
They're against Elam, basically.
Okay. So we do want the tree, though.
I'm thinking in terms of also we want to make sure we're not overlapping like with like Badlander guilds. We have the Ravens Guild in Badlander because I was going to suggest Raven, but then it's like
we can't really.
You have a double Raven, so I don't think we can use.
And you effectively can't use crows then for the same.
It's kind of similar. Eagle, I mean.
Yeah, eagle. I love eagles. I think they're really cool. It's just that it's just so easy to get caught up into the Roman and Americana stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So that flavor tends to be, so unless you make it very much like, people, like the Kazakhs in Mongolia using eagles to hunt with. Have you seen that? It's actually really cool. They're really interesting people. But they actually hunt with eagles, right? But if you go that direction, you can get away from it. But otherwise, eagles tend to just instantly feel Americana or Roman.
Okay, we're back. Other heraldic things, there could be like weapons or instruments.
Oh, Jim suggested falcon.
Yep.
Yeah, falcon's
definitely
a good one. Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of doing like a harp for one, and one with maybe weapons like an axe.
Well, I'm trying to think of like something that would stand out to another werewolf, like because they have to find each other too. So I'm thinking something that not like any house would some things that would kind of like stand out to them. Like
Yeah,
if they
'cause-
can at least narrow it down when they're looking at house symbols and things of a city, when they come into Valazar and they need to, it's someone from another kingdom and they're trying to find the secret society of werewolves, and they're like, okay, where am I going to look? And they're looking up the heraldry of the houses, and they're going to be able to go, oh yeah, this is one.
We should also keep in mind that people are going to, when we do this in a LARP, having something so you can have a small token that easily represents it would be really cool.
Yeah, that is why animals are kind of easy for that. James pointed out that's why we need to limit it to animals. Man-made tools will not signal the same thing. That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
If we're thinking, if we want to kind of ground them in nature or something, if that's what we're going for, but they are knights, so
yeah, but they would never put wolves ever on their heraldry ever.
No,
Right.
no, right.
In fact,
Right, it's not going to be wolves.
On
Well,
someone's heraldry, that instantly, oh, they're not one of us.
How close is like the cunning fox? What about like a fox clan?
A fox is good.
I love a fox or a jackal.
Yeah, jackals are basically European coyote, right? So to Americans, jackals seem cool. To everyone else, they're basically little wolves that are cowardly and
Okay. Well, what about the fox then? The fox is always the clever, cunning.
Yeah, that's more of a Victorian thing, like they're just so tiny, like they're a whole step again smaller. So I think we should do monsters now. Like
okay,
unicorns.
so we're sticking with like larger things then.
Yeah, I think that's if that's going to be the name of your secret society, right? So these taxons are so these are basically the secret societies of you join them and you basically it's like joining the Order of the Rose or something. Is that what we're doing here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what about Thunderbird? I know that when I was making some of the monster and I wanted to make a Thunderbird, which was like it was going to be huge, but we could make it smaller.
Where do we have the monster?
They're all over the place.
Okay, we don't have a
no, like the Thunderbird was mainly in my notes. It was created for Badlander like over a year ago. But I don't know if it was ever statted. So it's just kind of like I wrote the description and the kind of the basis of it. It was going to be something that lived on cliff sides and kind of was able to like fly through it was going to be, it's like a monster and eagle in a way. But it sounds cool. Thunderbird.
Thunderbird is great. I've always loved Thunderbirds. And then there's that Sunday morning cartoon, Thunderbirds. So I think it kind of ruined it. Maybe just from our generation, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Thunderbirds are cool. It's like a tempest bird kind of thing. It would be kind of neat for them to.
I mean, isn't that IP still going?
I don't know.
I mean, Thunderbird's a thing of a creature of legend and myth too. It's not.
We should do Mammoth though.
Oh, it's a British TV show. That's why you guys haven't heard of it. Yeah. Yeah, I remember this. Yeah, we might get in trouble. Of course, we wouldn't call it Thunderbirds.
No.
Oh yeah, 1960 started in 64. Wow. Okay.
But isn't Thunderbirds?
Maybe it's long gone.
I mean, Thunderbird it's a creature of myth, so it's not.
Yeah, I mean, but if someone trademarks something, and then they're gonna they can fight you, right? But yeah, let me see what we can do. What's another word for we can say?
It's also in Native American lore, Thunderbird.
Thunderfowl.
Oh, I don't like the word foul.
I'm kidding.
Thunderhawk, thunder. Thunder Crow, Thunderhawk, Thunder.
Wow, there's actually no synonyms really.
Yeah. Okay. So we got.
Well, we'll have to get back to that. We could do Thunderbird as a placeholder, and try to come up with something
All
similar.
right, would they be haughty or?
Yeah, let's put them at the cruel haughty.
Because that's where we have Falcon now, but Thunderbird. And just
put
Thunderbird
Falcon.
looks wrong. It just doesn't fit.
Well, so just a
We'd have
placeholder.
to change the word.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what's the
Right.
word for thunder.
We'll change it. It's just placeholder word though. Just so we know what we're getting back to.
And I put Mammoth in under Exiles just because it needed to go somewhere, and I wanted to make sure we use Mammoth.
Oh yeah, Mammoth is because that's a very a common beast
Those
in
are
Lost
still
Land.
around.
Yeah.
you
Thunder
wanna put-
Raptor. Thunder. What about like a?
The problem with Thunderbird
Actually,
is
a
that it's
Thundar.
Thundar works.
Ooh.
Yeah, the problem with Thunderbird was it was too long.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
Um,
a picture of a falcon, but they're actually a Thunderbird, you know?
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting.
And that would make them just absolutely gigantic
Yeah. Like a
because
giant.
their caw would be like the sound of thunder.
Yeah. I mean, everything, is much bigger in Lorne, right? So, everything is just huge. Everything's a megafauna. Not everything, but there are lots and lots of megafauna. So, basically humans are the shrimps.
Do we
in a
want to
world of
use? Do we want to use snakes, or do we want to do something else?
It could be a dragon. That's almost always the jump.
Could be a dragon, but I mean, we could also just go a different direction, do like
Or-
a giant scorpion.
Wyvern or wyvern worm. A wyvern isn't a wyvern also like sometimes used as dragon?
Yeah. I mean, that my thought
sounds
would be to
cool.
put dragon under traditional.
Drago or a Drakon. We actually have Drakon. They could name themselves after the Drakon. But that was in the maybe a game. But I think we're gonna make that game much more about demons. But
Yeah.
Actually, if we call it Drakon and they're the traditional, because originally they used to protect the fire holds,
oh yeah.
and the Drakons were the demons underground. There might still be the traditional taxon who is still prepared for that purpose.
Mm. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So they take the Drakon as their symbol because that's what they fight.
Okay.
Yeah. And that actually was fairly common. Heraldry often didn't symbolize like you, it symbolizes what you want, what you hated.
Right.
That's often, not always, often what, and then it became kind of associated with you and you found merit in it. But, which we always kind of fall in love with our enemies, right?
Yep.
It's a weird thing about humans is that, especially if we defeat them into extinction, then suddenly we love them. Now that they're gone, right? That was actually the beautiful thing about the ending of Ender's Game, is that as soon as he killed them, he immediately regretted, like he missed them, and
For the snake, would it be possible to use something similar to a coatl, like a more mythical?
Oh, yeah, like
serpent.
a winged snake.
Yeah.
a what snake?
Coatl.
So a flying snake, a snake with bird wings.
We already have a dragon. That's a flying snake.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to think of other serpent types that are a little bit more a step up.
What's
from
a monster that's not a serpent like at all? Like a griffin was always on heraldry, right?
Oh, right,
That's where
griffins.
it really comes from.
I love a
Or a hippogriff, like all these
I like
things,
griffins.
monsters that came from they came from heraldry.
Griffin and Chimera. I love a Chimera.
Love a Chimera. I'm also personally have always been just a big fan of scorpions.
Hippogriff. The
Only problem with
no,
hippogriff is-
hippocampus.
Oh, that's
The sea, literal sea horse, like a hippocampus is like a.
I thought that was part of your brain.
It is, but this
Okay.
mythical creature was also named. It's kind of funny, but yeah, a hippocampus. It was in. I think the hippocampus was in Alice in Wonderland too. But it's a horse with like a fishy, eelish lower half, and it's in the
Oh
sea.
yeah.
Yeah. So something like Seabound. I don't know if we want to connect our werewolves also to the sea somewhere. Kraken is always. So there's
A kraken makes great heraldry.
yeah, Kraken would be a really cool heraldic. But we could save Kraken, all that the good sea stuff, probably for when we want to do a little bit more on our Tempest pirates.
Yeah.
So maybe we ought to save the big sea things for them, because a ship with a big Kraken on its bulkhead would be just epic.
So what is a chimera?
It's
Chimera has a dragon tail. It has a
it's lion, serpent, and goat.
she goat in
Okay.
Greek, but
Lion-
a goat's body, lion's head.
It's sometimes it's depicted with like three. There's the lion, the goat,
It's
and
kind of ridiculous.
and a snake. Yeah, it's
a griffin is better.
Hydra. The many, I think, now dragon and Hydra are probably too similar.
No, Hydra other than a snake. So
Well, that bumps up the snake. If we wanted to use like a snake, we could do like a Hydra.
Yeah.
But
do we have a bird already?
yeah, we've got that Thundar.
The Thundar is a bird.
Oh yeah. So griffin is basically a bird of prey.
Yeah.
With just some lion parts.
Yeah.
Clearly, very heraldic, right? It's just ridiculous to have that exist in the real world. Which is why I think we didn't see it in the D&D movie, right? It's just to animate that this is why I never would play with these monsters when I did play D&D. It's just like for me, I visualize these things.
Yeah.
And I never could visualize how that would walk around, right? It just always looked weird in my head,
To be fair, I never could have visualized an owl bear, but they did a pretty good job with that.
True. They did. I was like, oh my God, there it is. Yeah. Iconic. Yeah.
Very iconic. I'm glad they did it, but for me, it was kind of ridiculous. But
Well,
hey,
owl bears
the
are
whole
ridiculous.
movie had that tonality of ridiculous fun.
Yes,
And
and
they
that's
pulled
what
it up.
D&D
They
is.
pulled it up. So
I thought
I mean,
that
the gelatinous
movie
cube. I mean,
was great.
Any other fantasy movie or TV show would not fit. It would be stupid.
yeah,
But they pulled it. They got the tone right,
yeah.
so it worked. It's just
Yeah,
too bad.
I thought that the movie was very predictable, but not in a bad way.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
And at least they got it so that what happened in the movie, they actually had plans, and the plans were smart and they worked. Like the whole heist stuff. They just didn't hand wave it. It was real. It was real.
And it felt like a D&D game.
Yeah.
It felt like there were certain times where they'd be like, well, what do we do now? And somebody kind of goes, I want to roll this random thing. And they try that. Or, things that made sense for role play around the table, which I thought was kind of cool. But yeah, I actually just saw it like last week for the first time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, glad you got to see it.
Yeah.
I kind of miss the tieflings being a little more like grr.
Well, I mean, it's a variant of tiefling
Yeah.
and one that's easy to film.
I guess so. Yeah.
And the nice thing is that actress, just there's something kind of inhuman looking about her.
She looks very fey, actually. Yeah.
Like she looks.
I think it's actually goes by they.
Okay.
Oh,
They look like they have elven blood in them somewhere. Like
They
there's
do.
definitely some
They have
fey
some kind of
heritage
yes. Yeah.
in that actor.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. They look very
It's
fey.
we don't
featured.
even know. Yeah, it's just tricky.
Yeah.
I don't even know that's true, but I'm pretty sure I read that.
but
Okay.
delightfully well cast.
Yeah, really good actor. I've seen a couple other things. Really like.
Yeah, they were amazing in It.
Oh yes.
Yes. Yeah.
And the last-
Cockatrice.
Cockatrice is a good one.
Oh yeah. Have like my book of myths and monsters and fey beings sitting over on the table over there. I should feel like I should go get it. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, killing at a glance though is kind of crazy. Like, this doesn't work in a
Well, most
and
of the ways
basically it's a
people-
basilisk, right?
Yeah, I was just gonna say basilisk. Yeah,
So that's a lizard again.
Yep.
And by the way, instead of a dracum, it could call it a wyvern. Wyvern is just a really cool looking word. It just looks incredible, right?
Yeah, I like wyvern.
Sure,
It's-
let's do wyvern.
It's a great word. Yeah.
It's just so good. Let me see how I can spell it differently. Want to keep the WY. That looks WYV is. Maybe with an M? Wyvern.
I don't know.
It
That just
actually has good mouthfeel, but it's a bit weird. Wyvern.
I feel like that's gonna just seem. I don't want to insult anybody else's IP, but it seems like you're taking something, changing one letter of it, and pretending it's something new.
Wyvern. Oh, that's kind of neat with the two Y's.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I could see.
But we've got
Still pronounced the same.
Leonin, so we've got two N's at the end.
Oh yeah, we got two N's. Actually, that could be an M. Leoman.
Leonim
Yeah.
could also be a D. We could do Leonid.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah. Oh,
Although
Leonid.
change the E to an I. So it's ID.
Yeah, I like Leonid.
So that
Yeah,
might
that's
actually
good.
already be something.
Yeah.
And then Chimera doesn't actually have to be like a chimera. We can make it something else. It just looks cool.
Okay.
Right.
It could be our version, Lost Lorne's version of a chimera.
Mammoth though. I see. That's going to be actual mammoth. Yeah. Yeah.
Big
People
ones.
forget that mammoths were like almost twice as big as in terms of mass as an elephant. Like they were freaking huge.
They were mammoth.
That's a crazy like.
They
I
were
don't
so
know,
big
because-
they became
because
a word
an
for big.
elephant, like in the jungle. It's amazingly like it's just like such a weird feeling to be on this enormous creature. It just is unlike anything else, Then imagine something even bigger. It's hard to
I
imagine.
love like the temperament and the intelligence of elephants is amazing. To have our mammoths be like that would be pretty cool too.
Yeah.
They think we're cute.
My friend's host family in Thailand. We all had a host family,
Mhm.
and his host family logged teak trees in the middle of the jungle where there's no roads. and they own land way out, and so they own like 30 elephants, and they would go on these treks with like 30 elephants and go in to get logs. We went once with them. It was incredible, unbelievable, going with the, you know, like for so long being in the jungle. But the elephants, like, you know, the biggest danger was the elephants, put it this way. You know, like in America, the most dangerous job is roofer, North Sea fisherman.
Yeah.
You know, and in countries that have elephants, the most dangerous job is mahout. You know, because normally elephants are great, right? But if they get mad at you, one swipe, you're dead. You know, you're done. That's it.
It is amazing with so many animals that are like that. Because I know bears, same thing. Like there was a guy who did a whole documentary about bears and how they're not all that dangerous, and then it never came out because in one of the shots he got too close to a bear and stood up and
Werner Herzog did the documentary. He took his footage and built the movie and showed the movie, and the ending of the movie, the documentary, is incredible. That it's just the audio recording of him and his girlfriend being eaten. Oh, you know, because he was playing with these bears. People in this town, you know, I believe it was in Alaska, kept going, "You're gonna get eaten." He goes, "No, they love me, man. The bears love me." And of course, he got away with it for years, but eventually, he got eaten. And he just came out of the documentary like a year ago about the two scientists who were studying volcanoes. And same thing. And, you know, and they did some incredible shots. So beautiful, these volcanoes. And as he says in the documentary, they were more filmmakers by the end than they were scientists, but they were extraordinary filmmakers. But they died because they got too close to the volcano trying to get the shot and trying to take measurements, and they got blown up, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Like, you visit volcanoes in Japan, they have these giant concrete shelters at the top, so that if it starts erupting boulders, you jump into these weird cone-shaped, you know, 30-foot thick concrete shelters, so you can sort of wait out the storm, basically.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you know, like volcanoes are serious. Like, you know, if Yellowstone goes off in our lifetime, half of the USA is going to be screwed. You know, it's going to be
half the USA is inside the volcano.
Huh?
Half the US is inside the volcano.
Yeah. The caldera is the complete is not just Yellowstone Park, but all the surrounding areas. That's just the caldera. Yeah. Let's pray it does not happen anytime soon. Even though it's overdue, it is overdue.
I was just thinking of I started thinking about, sorry, I'm looking at the list of animals, and I'm thinking there's also Minotaur.
Oh yeah,
Minotaurs are always good.
Minotaurs are good.
Maybe instead of the Borwick.
Oh yeah, because that's instead of like a boar.
What if it's a boar Minotaur? Because that's much more medieval. Minotaur is very Greek. So what a boar man is kind of like, you know, that's kind of what we're talking about here, right? So
so Borwick is like a Minotaur.
So you can, if you are a mammoth, you can actually grow a trunk and tusks on a human body. There are Hindu temples that have that. I've seen it.
Oh yeah, right. So it's like a Ganesh kind of
elephant head, but yeah, there's statues and images. I forgot what god it is, but there's a god as a human body and elephant head.
It's Ganesh. Yeah.
Is it Ganesh?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. Actually, Ganesh is pretty cool. Yeah, that is kind of.
Then your moon form or your beast form or whatever it is going to be from your taxon.
It is Ganesh. Oh, I'm so embarrassed now. Oops. Sorry.
There's no reason to be embarrassed if you were practicing Hindu.
Hindus, sorry. Apologize.
Mark.
Yeah. Oh,
The shame. Shame.
Yeah.
Where's the shame bell? We need a shame bell. Oh, where's my sound effects?
Yeah. I just woke up from a nap.
Yeah, fair.
All right. So
Like an hour
taxons
ago.
are going to be secret societies. Um, um, so so your moon is you're these rebels. You know, you're we'll say rebel tribe. There we go. So you have your rebel tribe, and then the taxon will be. We're saying, does the secret order work? That seems a bit weird to me. Like, why do they have secret orders? Like, okay, when you grow up to be as a werewolf, we said right that not everyone in your family gets the curse, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And in some ways, it's said that by having the curse, you're carrying it for the family. So you have a curse, but you're meant to use it for the family's sake, right? But it's seen as a curse. It's like, oh yeah, you can't have a happy life. You know?
Well, but all of these, I mean, they're secrets to normal people,
Right.
but they're not secrets within Vargar society.
Right.
Like if you are a level 1 Beast Knight, you should know who all the taxons are. Like that shouldn't be a secret.
Yeah.
But if you're not a Beast Knight, then it should be. Like it should be one of those, as long as you're part of the team, you can know everything. So not really a secret order. It's kind of
it's secret to the rest of society, but
yeah.
Yeah, it's a not so secret order, but it's a secret within the Wereborn.
I don't
it's
think
their
it should be.
secret. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
as
the
a
Wereborn
whole.
know about it, but it's a Wereborn. It's not a secret among the Wereborn, but it's a secret to the outside world.
Yes,
Right.
exactly. Yes.
You wouldn't parade around with this on your shield, because then people are gonna go, who the hell is that?
Right. But you might, when you're creating your own individual heraldry, you might make sure that there is somewhere within a reference to your taxon, so that those who know can recognize it, and other people just think it's just part of your image.
In this sense, though, when I look at Lion seems very mundane now.
Yeah.
So the Chimera is part lion, so we could incorporate lion into the Chimera if we wanted to go with something else, or make Chimera in place of. I love the name, the Leonid, but
it's not a lion; it's a lion man.
What if it's like a lion, like a horned lion or something, like something that's like?
But it's a lion. Lion. We can't say man, but lion mortal. Lion. Yeah, mortal. We use mortal and everborn instead of man. Lion person.
Yeah,
but it's not a lion. It's the figure. It's basically like Ganesh. It's basically a human body with a lion head. You know?
Yeah, I mean, just imagine the image of a lion head in armor.
So it's like Sekhmet in Egyptian.
Yeah,
yeah. We're making all of these. Like, so the wyvern is a snake head, dragon head on a human. The Thundar will be a bird head. Mammoth will be an elephant head. Ganesh, which by the way may be a problem. Right, that's someone's religion. Should we be, it'll be hairy, so it's not an elephant; it's a mammoth.
Right,
it'll be very hairy, and we'll make it have that sloped forehead that the mammoths have. So it's very clearly not an elephant, but still, that is a god, right? It's not just some cute little. Oh, these people have this cute image. No, for 1 million plus people, that is a literal god.
Yeah. I'm again like
700 million.
I wish we had someone we could
1 billion.
Who could weigh in.
1 billion people have some association with Hinduism, right? No.
Well, that's something that we then need to find someone and ask them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we gotta
yeah.
ask.
We need
Okay,
some feedback
is a
for some of
mammoth
these. Yeah.
far enough away from elephant that it's okay for us to use?
Also, I
And then
believe Ganesh has
chimera.
multiple
What
arms.
animal head? What head is a chimera? That's a
Goat,
goat. head?
more goat-like, probably.
A goat head is not. That's Satan, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
And that also can
I
be
don't know.
offensive to some people.
I mean, I'm a
Uh,
fan of Black Phillip in that movie.
we have
The Witch.
a
The black
pastor
goat.
in our team. We should make
Yeah.
sure that a goat head is not offensive to Christians, because I don't want to offend Christians.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
The one thing also
You
that
could make it a
gets
ram.
Mammoth away from Ganesha, Ganesha also has 4 arms.
That's true.
You could make it the chimera more of a ram, or
The Oakenthal has a tree head.
no. See, this is the thing: is making it the head like is weird to me. Anyway, like making all these like, I think we need to work a little more with that, like what it actually does.
I mean, we were
Because-
talking about having them change into this is their form as a lord, right? So this is their second sort of,
So
major
I would
form.
think that
I mean, because
the
now it's like
Oakenthal, you just become more of a tree person.
it's like they're becoming something else. They're not like, because now it's almost like we're drifting away from them being actual werewolves, and they're going to be like something completely different. Which I mean, having a new spin on werewolves, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I feel like it's almost like it's starting to shift the focus into, oh, these other things you're going to transform in. So are you actually even a werewolf?
That is true. If we do this, we're kind of making it so that being a werewolf is the crappy
Yeah,
side version.
it's a consolation prize of your shape shifting.
Yeah.
That's why I'm kind of feeling like aspects of like there's something else maybe you get from this. It's not just your head turning into some creature. Like maybe there's an aspect, or there's like a connection, or there's something more. There's something else you get from them.
I mean, we added all that other cool werewolf stuff, right? Like we'll I think for the basic and you automatically get to every werewolf can change into wolf form, right? And
Yes.
and it's a giant wolf. It's a wolf equal to your
Like a
body.
dire wolf. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a really big wolf. With
Actually,
special
Christopher really
superhuman-
liked that idea. I
with
just want to say that.
Superhuman powers.
Yeah.
And then there'll be whatever we call their discipline or arcanics. We need to come up with a name for it. Oh, I think we did already, actually. It was called
'Cause I think-
Lycana. Yeah, so they're like they'll have a wereborn or Lycana, which lets them do all the wolf stuff, right? And do special stuff with wolves. So I think it'll be in there. But I remember very clearly like facing, I just finished Vampire 2nd edition, and suddenly, no, this is actually before 2nd edition Vampire. I was doing that and Werewolf at the same time. And I was going, oh my God, like how do I do Werewolf in a way that is true to the myth, but the myth is so one-dimensional, right?
Mhm.
Vampires had this vast mythos to it, werewolves less. So you've got to add stuff on there. So of course I added what is now famous, like werewolves and vampires hate each other, which by the way was a new idea, what didn't exist before. And then we added all the other stuff too, like the nature stuff, which now seems everyone, that's also part of the myth now. It's in werewolves protect nature, right? That is a firm part of the mythos. But there wasn't much mythos there, so we have to add on stuff.
Yeah.
Because there isn't enough, right?
Mhm.
There just isn't enough.
Yeah. I think though that for our werewolves to stay hidden in society, I think the fact that they turn into just like large wolves, it's like that helps because people will see wolves. It's like, oh, there's lots of wolves in this area, or yeah, be careful, you might get eaten by wolves, or you're attacked by wolves, or maybe that's like a common thing with hunters or people who leave the city, like be careful, there's wolves. So like, and it's just because they don't look like the big half beasts. They look like just large wolves.
Yeah, yeah, and they're really scary. The wolves around here are really dangerous, and they guard that woods. Don't go in that woods. The wolves are always there. No one goes in there.
And that way,
only
when
the Lord
you're
goes in there for hunting. No one else dares.
Then you don't have to come up with a reason for why people don't know that there's werewolves when you erupt into another form or something. And it's like, plus the old legends, they were wolves. They weren't, they weren't
when
these
you
like half.
when you have the human beast hybrid, is when you get into the difficulty of keeping it a secret.
Right. And that's why that should belong to the lords, the masters, I feel like, because that's when they master another form. And that's what makes them badass, is they have, they have this mid form, and that's what you want to get to. But you can already be this big, cool direwolf, and you're still going to have powers. So
what if we have a halfway in between? So at level 1, you can form into kind of a beastlier form. So you're not necessarily much of a physical change, but you just take on more of a beastly energy. Maybe your hair grows a little bit thicker, and you're just a little bit bulkier, and so you're easily mistaken for just, oh, that guy's just huge. But it's actually kind of the werewolf. I'm thinking the different types of werewolf in myth. Because you've got the type that was shifting, and you've got the type that was more just manifesting elements of wolves in human form. Like
Wolverine. They look like Wolverine, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've gone over an hour. I just want to give a heads up on that.
Yeah, we can. We're going to do our normal daily 2 hours, right? So I guess we can broadcast the whole thing. Probably no one will follow along the whole time, or maybe we should. Yeah, maybe no one wants to listen 2 hours. It would seem too daunting. So maybe we should end it. Yeah.
I think we have a director's meeting.
Way too much. All right, I'm going to end the broadcast, and this is
join us on Saturdays.
Come join us every Saturday and Sunday, and we'll be talking live. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.